We're live.
Oh no, so no intro on there. All right,
Wait, hold on.
well,
What you say, Joe? What you say? What you
there was
say, Joe?
no intro.
I know now that my wife has become host to a Kandarian demon. I fear that the only way to stop those possessed by the spirits of the book is through the act of bodily dismemberment.
It's truly frightening.
This is
Because you're home.
Oh man, I got this. Big love for me too, man. Yeah.
What's up, everyone? It's Thursday night, the start of your weekend, and you're starting it off with the Three Corners of Horror here live on Horror Fiend TV. I am Joe, the psychologist, amped up. I'm trying to retain it in. For this discussion, joining me as always, it's going to be just the brothers tonight. JR, the man, the plan, the villain. How you doing tonight?
Hey, he's muted.
You're muted. You're muted.
And I know. But yeah, different type of feel. I mean, I don't know. Was it something we could sink into, or was it just another musical?
All right. My beer brother Rick. You ready for this one?
What up? Yeah, I'm ready, bro. Hey, let's do a cheers, Joe. Cheers, JR.
Cheers.
brother.
Hey, I got water too.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
Triple threat. Once again, let's roll.
And here we go. So, the power of music connects the past and the future. It bridges the gap between the life and death. There are individuals who can create music so pure that they can conjure spirits from the past and the future. They can pierce the veil between life and death, and at times attract dark entities and evil. They are known as fillies in Ireland. Choctaw refers to them as firekeepers, and in West Africa, they are griots. Individuals, supernatural, mystical, music infused, who have the power to heal, connect generations, and summon spirits. This is Ryan Coogler's Sinners. And it stars Micheal B. Jordan as Smoke and Stack, Hailee Steinfeld as Mary, Miles Canton as Sammy, Wumni Mosaku, I apologize if I said it wrong, as Annie. And I'm excited for this one. I'm just going to get one little quick thing because Junior mentioned about the music. And generally, when we have music in our movies, we tend to, not be happy about it. The movie itself relies on the power of music. So having music in there was completely justifiable. And I just really want to quickly shout out Sammy's song. Like when that whole sequence just came on and just the words to those that he was singing was so powerful. I felt that in my soul. But when Perline came on, boy, if there was nobody else in that theater, I would have stood up and stomped along. And that's what Ryan did with this movie because he gave us a horror. But again, the whole movie is based around the lore about the power of music. And there's other songs in here, but I gotta say, he accomplished making you feel the soul in music and just seeing the generations that basically influence that. So, with that, as I said, we are introducing this movie to Sammy, who, we'll go into from the beginning to end. I'll leave it up to you guys. But he is obviously one of our griots. And there is an individual that when he sings Daddy's song, that attracts him, and he is played by Jack O'Connell. It is Remick. So, let's first, I just want to see if you guys thought we should have just gotten a little bit, because also we're comic book people. So we're going to talk about powers and we like supernatural stuff. I kind of want to see just a little bit more. So did you feel you wanted to see just a little bit more of Sammy's power? And because of what he can do, either one you got, JR, you can tackle it first, but why was Remick after him?
Well, it was the power of music. It was the music. I mean, you said in the beginning where the whole thing is based on that one person was able to create a music that almost like is ahead of its time. That's where the future element came in, and then basically the past. And I mean, jazz has always been the marker of what began a lot of the music in this country. So to go back to those roots. And as far as Remick himself, I'll be honest, this is one of those things where they showed enough. I didn't want any more because they showed more than I think what they took it away from the film, and the fact that it was more about him showing his power. I mean, the fact that you had jazz on one side and folk music on the other, I thought was a little bit of a powerful mix because hey, let's be honest, they're both power. They're both foundations, like I said, to the music in this country. So for me, I didn't mind the fact that they didn't go all superpower on Remick. What we seen from him was perfect enough. Even that scene where what's her name? Mary's like walking away, and then we get a quick glimpse of him flying. We didn't need to see the whole flying thing. I think they did it perfectly, sprinkled enough because
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, in this movie, that's all that was needed. It was more about his character, and I'm gonna harp on that a lot because this film was a lot about the characters in the film. So the fact that, like, if you go see this movie, you're not gonna, spoiler, you're not gonna get the massive horror at the beginning. The openings, first chapter and a half of this film is all about the character building. So for me, I like the character Remick as far as he was. I didn't want any more. I mean, we've seen most of his appearance at the end as far as what he looked like after, we'll talk about the battle. But for me, I thought it was just perfect the way they did it. I didn't want too much because I think they would have watered it down too much. And that's what made this film differ from other vampire films to me.
All right. And because I'm not all that great with words either. And with the power, I meant like Sammy, like the fact that his music is able to do that. It was kind of, you got the one scene. I would have liked it as he's playing the music, you start getting kind of little things happening around that start hinting to it instead of like the one scene. Even though I'm not shitting on it. I just meant kind of like, if you had the beginning, which was the development, and somewhere in there showing as he's playing the music that things are happening around him because of, the ability that he has. Rick, what about you?
Remick stumbled upon him. So it wasn't
he
like,
heard him.
Well, yeah, he stumbled because he just happened to be at the right area at the right time with the right duel, to help him. But yeah, I mean, he stumbled upon him.
But yeah, I definitely by luck. I think what Joe is also hinting at, he did stumble upon him, but he did hear him, and he recognized the power he had. And I think what Remick really wanted was Sammy because he wanted him to be able to conjure up his spirits of like his community, his lost community. In order to do that, he needed Sammy on his side. That's how I took it at that. As far as Remick, I really did like the character, and the music. I think it was like you mentioned, I think they handled it well. We didn't have to get too much of it. I think that montage showing Sammy when he's conjuring up the past, present, and future, essentially, beautifully done. I think I'm glad they kept it at that, because if they would have kept it like him constantly playing music and constantly conjuring spirits to fight the other vampires, let's say, that would have got a little too over the top for me. But I'm glad they kept it grounded in a sense. But just that one montage itself and the way it was choreographed, the way the singing, the sound design, and everything that's included in it, the visuals, and the fact that you saw Remick when he pulls up and he sees this and he hears this, and you can see like the sparkle in his eye, just like, oh shit, like he knows what he has in front of him, and that is when he decides, oh, I know what I'm gonna do now. I love how Remick played his character so subtle. Like he was menacing, but he wasn't like, your that kind of villain that would like twirl his mustache or anything like that. He was manipulative, he was always trying to deceive you, but in a way where he did kind of feel genuine, but at the same time, he would give you glimpses that no, this guy's pretty fucked up and he has really bad intentions. So overall, everything involving Remick, and I'll get to this a little later, but the music, that scene was so brilliant. It was beautiful, ethereal. It was. I can't stress enough how much I love that scene. And Joe knows I love music montages. I hate musicals, and for some reason, I know you guys mentioned it, but I didn't see this movie as a musical at all.
No,
I didn't. I just saw the especially like when the dad in the beginning tells Sammy, you play that music. You play that music long enough. I'm paraphrasing, but he says you play it long enough, and you're gonna bring the devil back with you, essentially. Yep. So the catalyst is right there. So the music, like you said, Joe, played a huge part in it. So I didn't see this as a musical at all. I just felt like it was a film highly influenced by music, especially the blues. Like the blues, like you guys said, it's that's the backbone of music, and it's you can find whatever type of music you're into. Blues was definitely at the forefront. It's the blueprint, you know. Like Ryan Coogler was talking, and he said that he was at a time where he wanted to really get away from hip hop for a little bit. This was during when like Nipsey Hussle passed, and he was asking around, you know, what can I listen to? And somebody recommended Grudge to him because that was around the time Chris Cornell passed, and he wanted to see how these musicians would, you know, how they
More
would
influence.
how they would speak to the world and tell the story of what's happening around them, substance abuse, violence. It could be domestic violence. It could be like drug use, alcohol, anything like that. All types of vices. And when he heard this music, the first thing he said was, "Holy shit, this is blues. This is blues." And then that's how he came up with the concept of this film. So he was a big horror fan. He says one thing a lot of people don't realize: he loves horror. So he blended the two, and I think he did a great job.
Well, what I again like I when I walked out of there, I just kept on thinking of that
You walked
scene.
out the movie, bro? Oh no.
No, when I walked at the end, because I don't know, I know every theaters are different, but the Regals, their sound system was, you heard like just so many different instruments, keys, notes during that sequence, and sound not to be corny, but there's this old movie back in the day called Xanadu, which involves muses from Greece, and they show the influence, like combining rock with the jazz band and how you can merge things. But when it showed like the African ancestors coming in there, you know, and we're Puerto Rican, you know, our music has some of that in there also. If you hear like the percussions, the drums, you know, we are also influenced by the music that comes from Africa. So just seeing that, and like, you know, all the rooms, all the things changing, the past, the future, it was like you're sitting there like, how high am I? And then I'm like,
oh man. Yeah.
and I was like, I am glad I am this high right now to enjoy
yeah.
that. But then I also kind of thought, because you know, Sammy kept trying to get Perline to sing, and Remick had heard Sammy sing. But when Perline got up there and sang, and if you notice, like especially when they're pounding, I don't know if you guys felt it, it just kept building the intensity of what was to come. And it was almost as if Perline herself may have some of the power to be able to conjure things, because the way that the whole audience just got absorbed into her, and like she became a whole other person.
Like
and
conduit,
then and then, you know, all hell broke loose. I mean, again, it's I think when I thought about, and I said, you know, the music in here, I thought about No One Will Save You, how much we loved it, and it got to that musical montage and we just hated it.
Well, it's gotta be good music.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there when it started, I was like, okay, I hope this is really gonna be good, because, you know, the three of us are going to. But yeah, no, it was again, it was, I mean, a brilliance in merging horror, music. You know, Remick is basically, even though he's a vampire, he just wants to see the people he lost. So he hasn't seen happiness. He hasn't felt happiness probably since he became a vampire, and he's done with it, and wanted Sammy to bring his ancestors just so he can connect back with them again. And I thought, like, because this movie wasn't your run-of-the-mill vampire movie. Let's go ahead and just say hello to anybody, if there's anybody out there real quick.
Yes, sir. Yo, Mill, your boy, it's your boy, P Rockzilla, finally a new A-list horror movie I actually want to see. You gotta see it. You gotta see it. I think you would definitely enjoy this one, but definitely go early though. Go early. All right, and the Queen says, "I can't wait to see this." Oh yeah, definitely. If you haven't,
you're gonna love it.
Thank you for the comments and for viewing. And if anyone watching this hasn't seen this movie yet, don't go by what we say. Just experience it for yourself and get your own opinion on it, because it's one of a kind. I like this is Ryan Coogler's first original film, meaning not tied to a franchise. His own original creation. Nice. And you could tell this guy he's masterful, dude. His attention to detail, directing, writing, It's everything. He has everything well thought out, man.
Well, his score too. I mean, if you look at Wakanda always had a great score.
Same
Yeah.
composer, Ludwig.
Yep. Well, shit, I lost my bonus question already. Oh, that was it. So, because we also discussed dragged out, slow burn. The movie was a bit of a slow burn. I actually, for it being a slow burn, I enjoyed the pacing because, as JR had said, it was the character development and build. It made you connect with the characters and you cared about the characters. So it wasn't like in horror movies where they introduce characters and that things are rushing so fast that you don't connect. So I'll go to you, Rick, first. Did you like the pacing in the first? And I think JR said, what was it? The first hour, chapter and a half.
JR will be the one guy to do that. All right, let me see. All right. Clock it.
And it's funny because I literally said to myself, and when it started, I was like, it got a little slower. I'm like, I wonder if JR pulled out his phone and to start on the stopwatch so you can see exactly at what time it actually picked up. Look at I'm sorry, Rick.
But no, not at all. The pacing didn't bother me at all. In fact, I didn't even realize that they didn't show any like action or violence or any threat until Remick first showed up, and that's how good it was. I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan, and this movie was structured like a Tarantino film. Robert Rodriguez was another big inspiration for Coogler. He cited From Dusk Till Dawn, obviously, and The Faculty, and you can see it in this movie. And I'm just Micheal B. Jordan. Let me just say it right now, man. He had me glued to the screen every time he was on, as either Smoke, Stacks, or both on the screen at once. And you know what's crazy? They're identical twins in this film, right? And of course they dressed them a bit differently in the start, so you could, get the sense of who's who. But even as the movie progressed, I never had trouble figuring out which one is Smokes, which one is Stacks. No matter what was going on, and that's a testament on the writing, the delivery of the lines, the acting, even the blocking of the scenes. Everything in here was so meticulously placed that it never threw me off. And I love how they introduced, it's like almost like a RPG in a sense, where they split up with different missions. One group was gonna go and recruit, the bouncer. They got Annie, she's the cook. They got Bo and Grace to supply all the food and stuff like that. They made the sign for him. Everything they were doing in this movie up until when Remick shows up, I loved it. I was never bored, and I don't consider this a slow burn at all, because a slow burn to me is when something is really dragged out just to get to point A to point B. Here, there's always exposition. There's always new information thrown in, where you're always learning something new in this movie. I was never bored, always entertained. I don't think there was never one time in this movie where I was like, "Oh God, can this be over?" And this is a long movie, bro. I sat to for 40 minutes of trailers, mind you, and I was never once like, "Oh my God, this is over, I gotta go." I was more like, "Oh shit, all right, come on, some more, keep it coming, man." So yeah, bonus question answered, man. Not at all. I loved this film as far as a technical standpoint and just as a film concept as a whole, if that makes any sense.
What about you, JR?
Well, think about this. Ryan Coogler did 4 films, and Micheal B. Jordan is in all 4. So they work very well with each other.
Again, you're right. The Quentin Tarantino connection and working with the actors that you are friendly with and comfortable with, and like the back of your hand.
And you bring out the best of. Because if you look at those 4 films, Micheal B. Jordan's are his best films. Yeah. Creed, both Wakandas. I mean, come on, Killmonger, great character. And then this
Think about that. Killmonger was amazing as the villain.
And people were pissed that he got killed. Remember
I was one of them.
Yeah, I was very upset too. But the fact that now you had the character build of Sam, you had the character build of the brothers. But, I was a fan of her in Hawkeye. Was Hailee Steinfeld really blew it out the water in this one, because I thought her character was amazing. And then we get Delta Slim. I mean, who didn't like Delta Slim? Come on. I mean, that dude was freaking one of the best scenes in the movie. So they're trying to get in. He goes, I think I shot my pants. But yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they took their time building all these characters.
All of them, right? All of them.
And it got to the point that when we get to the battle scene in the barn, is you cared for what character you didn't want to die.
Yep.
So that's where a lot of people were comparing this from Dusk Till Dawn. The difference from this, though, I mean, there's a lot of differences, but you cared more for these characters than you did for the characters of Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, you didn't really care because they were villains, so you didn't really give a shit who died in that one. This one, you kind of cared of. All right, who's gonna go first? Or like, what's his name when Yao goes outside and I'm gonna get the car keys, and we all knew eventually he got turned, but you're like, man, why him? He was such a cool character. But the fact that the characters were cool, I mean, come on, we all like cornbread. I mean, where you been? I told you I had to go take a shit.
No, what did he say?
No,
First he went to take a piss.
Yeah, he went to take a piss, but then he goes, I needed to take a shit.
Like all the characters were portrayed perfectly, so you love the fact that they took their time with each of these characters, and then when we got to the epic, scenes where they're the fight off, is you were wondering which ones were going to get picked off first. So I'm sure like when Mary goes outside to get the money, from Remick. I mean, we all knew what was going to happen. But
like, why are you going out there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting like, wow,
the hell,
already they're gonna get Turner and shit. But for me, it's no. I mean, I think they did perfect with this. I would have been more pissed off if they would have went right, to the gore in the beginning. So I kind of like the fact that we waited till, near the end of the film to get that epic conclusion. So for me, no, I think that they did it perfectly. And if people did it differently, I think they would have killed. This movie would have probably been in here bashing the movie a lot more.
It would have been another typical horror film. That's all it would be.
Well, a little fun fact, Hailee Steinfeld, her grandfather is half Filipino and half African. So her character being, a mixed race.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's like, and it shows you that Ryan made sure to do his research on things just in case somebody goes, really, Hailee? No, the actress actually is biracial. So, and she was awesome. I mean, same thing, JR, when she went out first. But then that was one of those, it's kind of like when there's somebody that you're already connected, like you said, from a Hawkeye, you're connected to, and they're the first to go out. That's when you're watching a movie that the rules have all gone out. That
Spider-Gwen too.
Anybody that you're tied to might die here. Yeah. So, and that just added more gravitas to the movie with you right off the bat, turning one of your big stars into one of the bad guys. But, let's talk about the whole, because I will say for a split second, I thought of Dusk Till Dawn and then said to myself, these are two totally separate movies. Like the themes are both different. It's, they're not the same. Just because you have a bunch of people, there's been a bunch of movies where people fought vampires inside a house, inside a barn. It's not just Dusk Till Dawn. But yeah, let's talk about, finally when, what was her name? Yao's wife.
Sure.
Grace. Bo. Her name was Bo.
I gotta
Bo.
When Grace loses it, and actually, I thought this when you were talking about Micheal B. Jordan, you mentioned the twins. There was a couple in front of me, and the girlfriend goes, "Damn, oh, they look fine," and the boyfriend's like, "It's Micheal B. Jordan, right? There's two of them. They both look fine." I was dying laughing.
She's not wrong.
She's not wrong. No, she's not wrong. But yeah, I will say throughout the movie, everybody was pretty much quiet. Your couple of scenes where people got chuckles, but when Grace loses it and goes, "Come on in and get us," everybody in the theater went, "No!" Like even I said no, and that's when the shit hit the fan. Remick and his group comes in. So Rick, I'll go to you first on that.
What's your question? You asked a question.
I said let's talk about. We're gonna talk when the vampires finally get in there and the battle basically.
Yeah. The battle was awesome, and a lot of people I see are they're saying, "Oh, what a terrible character! Why would she do that?" You gotta understand, like, she has a daughter out there, right? And Bo is already part of them, so they know already where she's at. Obviously, they know all about this kid. I mean. Why would you? I mean, yes, you could wait until daytime, but by that time, you don't know. They might go kill everybody in town. it's either you make this stand now, or we're gonna have to keep dealing with this one way or the other. So I have no qualms with what she did, and she went out like a fucking G too, bro. I'm telling you, bro, that was a dope fucking kill. And yes, again, yeah, the From Dusk Till Dawn, yes, it is inspired by, but I don't. Yeah, when you watch it, I don't think From Dusk Till Dawn, just because it starts off as one film and it turns into another. There's other films have done that as well, so I don't want to just consider it a clone. This movie has tons of inspirations from other films as well, so I'm not even gonna stick on that. But the vampires were cool. The glowing eyes, I was a little iffy on that. That's the only thing that kind of like threw me off on it. Not that it was cheesy or not well done, but I don't know. I just felt like it could have been handled a little bit better. But that's a nitpick. That's not really a complaint, just a nitpick. If I have to nitpick on something, Other than that, another nitpick though, but again, not a big nitpick. I kind of wish that Remick did show up at least a little earlier, because when he does show up, it felt like out of nowhere. What's the name of that tribe? The Chakwa? What is it?
Choctaw.
What's that?
Choctaw.
The Choctaw, the vampire hunters. I want a little bit more of those guys, bro.
Yes.
Again, but the part they played within the film is fine, and I'm not gonna say it ruined it, because it's good to want more, So that's not an issue. But they were fucking cool and interesting, and I did want to know where he was coming from, where they were chasing him, and the fact that it was sunlight coming out, he started burning up. That was cool, but I just wish they kind of introduced it a little bit sooner in the film. Just kind of sprinkle a few like little crumbs to get you ready for the big, reveal of that what's going on. Because if you go into this movie not knowing what it is, and you see that, that's like, what the fuck? It's jarring in a sense, but it's okay. It's a nitpick. My only nitpick, I promise you. The battle scene, it was well handled. I love how all the schmoes and the joint just run out, just so we can have only our heroes inside to eliminate a lot of clutter. And I'm glad that they didn't show them all get killed. You saw them all turn later. I was like, oh, that's cool. Because at first you're like, oh, why don't everybody just run away? But nah, you're not gonna get away. That was handled beautifully, I think. And yeah, the Choctaw, yeah, those guys are cool, man. I love that whole scene, and the racist guys, and I love how it tied back, to the beginning when we first meet our two heroes, the brothers. And I love the first line when they asked me, "Y'all brothers?" Nah, we cousins.
It's like, are you stupid? Your eyes show you that we're twins here.
I'm gonna tell you, the Smokestack brothers are gonna go down. It's probably two of my favorite characters in film. I'm telling you right now, bro. I loved every second these motherfuckers were on the screen. And it was very smart to separate them once the vampires intruded into the juke joint. Very smart to have one of them turn and keep one as the hero. I like that. It created conflict, and it gave us a chance to get both sides of Micheal B. Jordan as far as those two characters are concerned. I did like that, and I liked the fact that yes, he didn't end up. He got spared by his brother, and he promised to leave my man alone. This guy came back in the fucking 90s wearing that fucking ugly ass 90s fucking pastel, whatever that shit was, bro. That was so funny.
Boy looked like Play and shit from
Yeah,
he did.
I was like, look at Play Salt and Pepper, man.
He did. But yeah, man. To answer your question,
Salt and Pepper. Yeah, JR, that I couldn't put what she reminded me of. Salt and Pepper.
Salt and Pepper.
Totally what Mary reminded me of.
Who did? Oh, Mary.
When Mary comes in the 90s. And
Oh,
with
yeah,
her outfit,
That's a jacket, man. With the
that definitely was a Salt and Pepper.
One thing I was, but I know they showed it, but how exactly did she get away? I
They
thought
said it during the film, like Mary grabbed him and said, "Come on, let's go." She knew that things were turning bad for them. So
but didn't Remick turn her?
Remick turned her. Yeah.
But how come everyone else died when Remick died? You know what I mean? Because remember they said
the sun came out. They all got caught by the sun.
It was the sun that got them.
Yeah.
But they felt pain though. Remember when he got hit by the guitar and they all stopped and they're like, oh.
But they had said that I think it was Annie.
Annie said it.
Annie said that just because you killed, it doesn't mean that you killed them all.
I understand that,
but yeah, I think
they were more shocked that he was gonna die and stuff.
I think they felt his pain, man.
And probably took off to not be able to be around.
Well, they took off way before that. They took off way before.
Yeah, they took off before that. That's true.
They took off as soon as Grace killed Bo, and they're sitting there like burning together, is where Mary grabs them and come on, let's get out
Yeah,
of here.
shortly
They
after
left,
Annie got bit. Yeah.
so they left just in time.
What about
Speaking
you,
of
JR?
Annie, that's our girl right there, man. I tell you
Oh,
what,
hell
What,
yeah.
what
I
movie?
love
What movie?
everything.
She was
everything
in
the actress is
she
in.
was in Lovecraft Country, which she did amazing in, and she was
What movie
also
did we
in,
review that we gave it a 5?
Oh, she was in was it the Netflix film is it My House? The house.
Is it My House?
His
My
house, right?
His
His
house.
house.
His house.
His house.
His
Yep.
house. Yeah.
Yep.
Come on, she's in Loki.
Yeah.
So, no,
She was in
she's a
something
great-
else too recently, man.
You gotta watch Lovecraft Country.
There was
She's
something else
amazing
she
in that.
popped in, and she's in a lot of stuff. So
Oh, yeah,
good for
she's-
her, man. She's awesome.
Amazing actress.
All right, JR, what about you?
I like the whole lead up, like not for nothing, man. When that dude like was passed on the floor, and it was the beer, and they thought it was blood, and they threw him
Yeah.
outside, and he's not gonna think. Here comes cornbread, and cornbread fucks him up. But yeah, I like how they took their time for that scene to develop. Like think about it, before they invaded, what they're doing, Rembix with all of them, and they're singing, folk song. They're dancing around. He's doing the freaking Irish, two step and shit.
The Irish
like
jig.
really fast and shit.
The river. What is it? The river dance.
Yeah, so he's doing that, and they were like, "Oh, listen to them! They're singing again," and then they just slowly start, coming in. I like that they took the time. I like how my boy, Delta went out. He just cut himself and said, "Yeah, come get you." He's like, "Stay with a knife." I'm saying like, this dude just didn't give a shit.
There was one scene with Delta in the car when he's talking about when him and his guys they robbed and they acquired all that money, and they asked him, "So what you do with the money?" He has that flask, and he violently like flicks the lid down. He's like, "I drank it," and I know people that would do that,
Mhm.
and that's
Oh,
the
yeah.
sad part. And the way he said that with such conviction, oh man, acting in this movie was top notch,
And-
man.
Just to hit on that scene. I'm sorry, JR. I'll get
No,
right
no.
back to you. To hit that scene when he was telling the story, and you're hearing what happened in his
Oh
story.
my god, you're right.
Because
I
I
didn't
sat
catch it
there,
at
I'm like,
first.
what? I'm like, where's all these people at? And I'm
Yes.
like, my God.
Everything you hear it.
And
Mhm.
what is it I say? Toby Hooper, it's not what you see. So Ryan, as he's telling the story, and you're getting like the all the noises, everything that he was doing, and you're visualizing him at that point while he's telling the story. I don't think I've ever experienced that in a movie where like the person, instead of just going to the flashback itself, as the person is speaking it, all the action is actually being heard in the background. I thought, dude, Ryan is a fucking genius. But go ahead, JR.
No, I mean, like the fight, the whole end scene was awesome. I like the fact that you got the two brothers going at it. The fact that's comical to me is like they waited for that one night to say, "You want me to say it? I love you." Not like both people they said "I love you" to die and shit technically, But yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great scene. I thought the fact that I don't. Some people might knock the ending a little bit, but I enjoyed that ending, because I don't think this movie needed to go further than what it did as far as the whole fight scene. I think they did it perfectly. It came fast too. And once it came, all hell broke loose. It went fast.
Yeah.
And I think they did it perfectly. Like, for example, how we brought up, when did they escape? The fact that you have to go back and watch exactly when Mary told him, "Yo, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here." Because when he appeared at the end with Buddy Guy, who happens to be an actual, blues musician. So
Buddy Guy.
Buddy Guy. So the fact that Ryan brought him in at the end, but the fact you see them coming in, you're like, oh, and we'll talk about the ending because I liked the ending too. But I like the fact that how the characters got killed off, and even the characters you didn't expect to get killed off. Like, I mean, I'm sure we all thought Perlene was going to survive. The fact that she didn't survive, so all
I
these
knew she was
characters.
toast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, but all these
Nice.
characters that you thought that one of them will still end up with, because for some reason a lot of movies couples there's always one couple that lives. The fact that zero couples, well, technically,
No, they didn't live. They
turned
died.
vampires.
They died in turn, so they are dead.
But yeah, but this is one of the films that just no couples survive. It's either one
Yeah.
or the other died or both. But nah, I thought it was perfect. I thought, like I said, it was. I mean, I'm sure Rick enjoyed the practical effects because that's, especially with the bite marks. I mean, actually, you know, you get bit, yeah, oh yeah, he had a freaking big gash open, and not for nothing. The whole time I'm thinking, these fuckers are looking through a little hole, and this dude's not gonna stab one of them with the knife because everybody in there was expecting the knife to come through again, get somebody in the eye. But nah, I thought it was perfect. Like I said, I like the boy. My boy.
Did you catch the Shining homage in that?
Yeah.
The low shot when all you see is his face and he's banging. That's Jack Torrance did the same. These the same shot. This film had a few shots that were.
All right. So, did you think when they were all eating the garlic, did that make you think of The Thing?
Yeah, of course. Oh, 1,000.
Yeah, when they were doing that scene, I was like, so that's when you said that Ryan is a horror fan. He threw little things, but when that happened, I'm like, this is the fucking Thing.
What's the beauty of it is when they turn it on its head a bit, when you think, oh, they got somebody, but it was dealt.
He's like, oh, wait. I drank too much.
What he say? My liver, or my liver didn't like that.
That Irish song, by the way, was called "Rocky Road to Dublin," which, if you look at the lyrics and read them, it's pretty much telling you the story of like him and the same, and it parallels the two brothers as well, the Smokestack brothers, and what they're facing in this film. So check out the lyrics; it's a cool song. I love Irish music, man. It's something about it. It's like
good little snippet there. Well, and I listen to a lot of blues. I mean, I'm a huge Nina Simone fan. And there's times, when I just need to just relax, I will put that music on, and because it's not a lot of overdone music. It's just typical instruments and a voice. You can escape. I mean, that's the thing. Like I said, the fact that the music is one of the grounding things, and that where the power that Sammy gets from, which also, because when Remick was also singing, because since they talk about that the people can be able to sing, it made me also wonder, was Remick a Philly at one point and then got turned? That's how he became a vampire, because him singing as well in here, again, since the whole movie is influenced on music, made me think that they showed you the three different ones, the Irish, the Choctaw, and the West African. This is where I thought his past, which is why he wants to talk to his family, he probably was not a bad person before he got turned. And he probably himself had the ability, and someone grabbed him and turned him. That's
so. Are you saying, all right? So let's say he was a musician, right? So because he turned the other two, were his talents passed on to them? Because all of a sudden they all knew how to play instruments. And
I think that's control. I think he's able to control them. I think that was, but because
I know they're sure thoughts for sure.
Yeah, because again, you just meet these people. He's from Ireland. You're from Mississippi, and you're gonna know this Irish song out of nowhere, So yeah, I think it's just his ability. The fight scene, like again, for a split second, yes, made me think of Dusk Till Dawn. The difference is Dusk Till Dawn, they set up people to go there so that the vampires can feast. That is not what happened in this movie. It's literally not at all. So this is why these are two totally, like, Dusk Till Dawn is set up to the victims show up there. In this one, the vampires showed up because they heard the song, and he personally wanted something for a person. They're again two totally different movies.
But the one connection you can make, though, is the fact that that house was used as a slaughterhouse by the KKK. So that's the one connection where the whole thing was a setup.
Yeah,
drunken wasted, and then basically.
But that wouldn't have been vampires. That was just going to be a bunch of Ku Klux Klan coming in there to massacre a bunch of black people.
Yeah, I got the sense with Remick's character that, and remember, this took place in 1932, and the Irish were going through a lot of stuff back at home. So it's almost like you got the sense that he was also persecuted too.
Well, minority-wise,
he was on the run.
People came over here first. The Irish people were the minorities.
Read the lyrics to that song. It's all in there. Yep.
Remember, the Irish were the first when they came over here during the Civil War. They were sent right around the ships to go fight the war.
Yeah. And let's touch too that the brothers had the Irish beer, obviously, because they're from Chicago, so they ripped off the Irish and the Italians. For the wine. That's how they got that bread.
They were on the run from Capone.
Yeah, Al Capone. Yeah.
Well, before we go to closing thoughts, because I don't want to keep us all too long.
Couple
yeah.
messages. All right, let's hope they do a prequel. This is it.
I was gonna hold on.
Yeah.
So Patrick O'Connell already had said he would be interested in doing Remic's story before here. So he already has said, I would love to do it. You never know, Ryan might. And it could, honestly, it's easily, if you think about it, you guys wanted to see more of the Choctaw, the movie could just be leading to that point, and you connect the movies. It doesn't even have to go to, you know what I mean? But he is, he loved the character. He did a lot of research on it. He loved the character. He would love to, we all said it, we would love a little more on his story. He would love to see his story and how he got to this point.
She's in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah, she's talking about B15, right? That's her name. Yeah. She's great. All right, and
definitely watch this.
There is one right after the initial credits, so you can wait like 2 or 3 minutes.
There's a couple.
And then at the end, it's the minister and Sammy singing a song together.
Jesus Christ, I left.
Listen, after 2 hours and 17 minutes.
Exactly. You know what? I'll check it online. If it was something really important, they would have had it in the first.
Yeah, I think it was just a little.
That's cool though.
Yeah. All right. So closing thoughts. Any last minute things that you want to say, JR? I'll go to you first.
I mean, I do agree. I kind of want a little bit more of the Choctaw Indians because I thought it would have been cool seeing them a little bit earlier in the scene. Maybe running into the Stack brothers, and saying they're looking for somebody. Have you seen this person? Just be careful. Like a little, little hints, But the one scene that is funny, I watched this with Priscilla, and she loved the movie. She said the only knock she had on it was the gunfight at the end, where it just went full, like Rambo for a second. She said
soldiers.
She would have almost felt like if he would have just been sitting there and have them all walk in, just gun them down all in one shot.
If it was Rambo, he would have not have gotten killed though.
Yeah.
He died. He took a bullet.
Oh yeah, but no, overall, it's a great film as far as character building. It's a smart film as far as when and where to put the horror elements in. Not go too extreme, like there was a lot of blood in a lot of scenes, but it was not in every single scene, and it
wasn't like from Dusk Till Dawn type. Yeah,
it did not need to be in every scene, and I like the fact that when you get that Remick character, I don't know. Part of me, I didn't see him as a villain, to be honest. Like I said, I felt like he was persecuted too, and he was just walking the road that he was given, and he was just trying to just find a new community. Because you almost I mean, granted, yes, he was going to go in there and kill them all, but you almost felt there was something genuine about him wanting to fit in, especially with the music. So he was a great villain, but like I said, I didn't see him as a villain in this film, to be honest. Hailee Steinfeld, man, she's amazing. I want to see more of her in horror films because I think she'll be a great scream queen. I mean, we have great ones now, but imagine her in a film with her, Jenna Ortega, Anya, and just throw a couple more in there. I mean, I think it should be great. I love the fact that they had, Bo and Grace in there too. And my wife's like, wow, they're smart. They have 2 stores right across the street from each other. You feel like they're running the town and stuff. And even that scene too is like how she's, he goes, I want a sign made, and they're going back and forth, negotiating and shit. But that was freaking. But her character was badass, and I think from that get go, we knew she was a badass character because she wasn't afraid of the Stack brothers, and the fact that yes, they all knew each other. But yeah, Delta Slim. I mean, you always see that one character. He was just fucking perfect in this film, and I love the way he went out because the boy was like cutting one hand. He's there there. He still has a fucking. I think he had a knife in the other hand. But at one point, he still had a drink in his hand. But yeah, I mean, cornbread was cool. He was still drinking.
I mean, you don't want to feel it when you're going out. So
I love how he was so loyal to his other place he would play at it, and so until that Irish beer came into play. Oh, hold on, you got more of this? I'm in.
You know, one scene I liked a lot was at the end when he walks in, and there's the buddy guy character. There's two grown ups, Sam, and how he starts playing, and you get the flashbacks of when in their car together. He's playing that same song that he played with him in the car, and you just got that sense that, I mean, at first we all thought he was going to go in there and kill him. Like, I finally found you, you're dead. But no, we get the whole backstory that the brother told him, promised him, to not harm him, not go after him. But the fact that they still had that moment of
live in peace.
They still had that moment of a connection. There was like still family right there. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm gonna give this a 4.5. I mean, if I was to give it a little knock, I did want to see more of the Native Americans in it. I just felt like there was something that was sprinkled in it that they could have did a little bit more with. But overall, yeah, I would say watch this movie. Don't go in to watch this movie thinking of From Dusk Till Dawn. They're totally separate films. Enjoy the fact that we're all fans of timepieces. This took place in 1932 in Mississippi, so there's a lot of historical values.
Man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about this film, and the fact that
history,
even the Annie element, the fact that you had the voodoo element, which they didn't say voodoo, but for us, our heritage is Santeria, but you kind of got a little bit of that in there too. But I think this film was just perfectly done as far as getting the cast, getting the story, and keeping to a script that didn't veer off course to ruin the movie. I'm not big into musicals, but I enjoyed the music aspect of this film, and I think that's what made this film a lot different. So for me, 4.5.
I have to say, when Grace Bo, because I'm gonna say Yao, the name of the actor is Yao, so Bo, right?
Bo.
When they started talking and they had that strong Southern accent, I'm like, what? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, the Delta Chinese is real. Yeah,
but then it just made, because it gave Grace that edge. Like, she didn't sound like, like how you would have made a typical Asian sometimes sound in a movie.
Yeah.
She sounded like she's from the South. When she talked, I'm like, that bitch will cut you. Like, don't fuck with her. Like, literally, like, no. And that, I'm gonna go real quick. I mean, after I'm done. I just, that's another thing is just that all the characters you got also to see what the Chinese were going through. And yeah, JR, when they were going back and forth and doing the negotiating, I mean, that's how things were done back in the day, and whatever that monopoly money, but I forgot what they were called it, because,
plantation money.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I when Grace started talking and you heard that Southern accent, it just gave the character just a lot more oomph, basically. Rick, I'm gonna go to you.
Yeah, the one thing I will say is I'm not a fan when a movie is like has an abundance of comedy like forced in there, but I think the comedy in this movie, it's just a fantastic comedic timing. Every joke landed for the most part. Like JR said, Delta and Cornbread, those characters were not there just to be fools. They were there to add levity
Mm-hmm.
to an overall, like heavy concept of a film, especially with the themes we're dealing with. I mean, we got Cornbread. He's a field worker, but he's so jolly that you don't think of that, And Delta, oh man, his comedy was, oh my god, like everything in this movie just works. And of course, Michael B. Jordan always hit his lines perfectly when it came to making you chuckle here and there. So I gotta use that, and the use of transitions too. I know Joe had mentioned the sound in this movie, and not just the music and the instruments, but if you listen real closely to the sound design in this movie, especially when it's mixed in with the transitions, like when Cornbread is taking his leak, and then you hear like the whispers around him, and then suddenly a being appears, and you hear like peekaboo, and it transitions to the next scene. But the way they timed it, you hear it like, oh shit, like what the whisper into the transition to the next scene, the way it flowed, it just blew my mind. Like the sound design, whoever was in charge of this movie, they need some award or something because the soundscape in this movie is perfect. Whether it's the instrumentation or just the sound levels, everything was perfect in this movie. I just find it funny, like Marvel has been struggling to make a Blade movie like for years, and Ryan Coogler pretty much said, fuck it, I'll make my own.
He did 1932 Blade.
Jesus Christ, he made a period piece. I mean, come on. I'm digressing, but I loved everything about it. It's a 4.5 for me as well. I don't want to go all the way into the 5 because I don't want to fall into the hyperbole. Because this movie it's. I mean, even before I saw it, that's what I was afraid of. I don't want to go in here knowing everyone's opinions because everybody was overhyping it. So when I'm watching it, I'm like, please, I just don't let it ruin it. But as I'm watching, I separated myself for it. That's my escapism, sitting down, and I really, really enjoyed this movie. I think, yeah, like I said, the Remick character, to me, it just felt like the movie was going in one direction, and then all of a sudden, it broke away from all of our main characters, and now we got some random guy rushing into this this Klansman's home, with his wife. It just felt weird to me. It's not a knock, but it was a bit of a disconnect for a quick second, and that's my only major issue with the movie. But maybe if I watch it again with time, it'll boost it up to a 5. I just don't want to jump in there because last time I did that for Psycho Gorman, you guys fucking eviscerated me. So I learned not to jump in head first real quick. Oh my God, it's the best movie I've ever seen because there is a thing called recency bias. I don't want to fall into that. But this movie is probably the best movie I've seen in a long time. And I see movies like The Monkey, which I enjoyed, but I didn't come out like this. Like this.
Yeah, you still gotta see Hardy Eyes, dude.
Oh, it's hold on, man. You're right, but now you say that you're putting it against this is a high bar, bro.
I say you need to watch Hardy Eyes.
Yeah. But yeah, man, I recommend this movie highly. So, go ahead, Joe. What you got?
Before I give mine, any last comments?
Is there? I think so. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Lens, hey, Lens.
Hey, Lens.
Great discussion. Love the movie. Micheal B. Jordan, plus amazing music, plus vampire slaying, while also hitting a perfect Irish jig. What's not to love? Thank you. You know what? That's what I mentioned before. Like the Irish jig. I don't know what it was. The Irish music, especially like as a consumer of alcohol. It just goes hand in hand, man. It's so much fun. And that was perfect timing, by the way, Joe. He took that. Thank you, man.
One quick thing before you jump, Joe. One thing I forgot to mention, and I'm always a big proponent of this. The lighting in this film was freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one thing I'm big into lighting. And the lighting, when Remy goes into the couple's house, and she goes looking for the husband, and it was so dark in there. It was just so perfectly done. And then when he's sitting there in the rocking chair, Remick, and there's blood all over his mouth. Oh, he's just resting. There he is. He gets up, and I just think the lighting was done perfectly. But yeah,
the whole scene was dark, right?
Yes.
But then, what do you see when he looks under? You see the fucking white hoods. Those white hoods stood out because of that. Yeah. Smart. Yes. Very subtle, but it's there.
All right. So, as far as with Priscilla on the ending, what I will say, same thing like Rick with the introduction of Remick, a little jarring. The ending went also a little bit on the jarring, but Remick told him what they were going to do because once he bit them, he knew their plans. So it actually made sense that he would go to try to, because he knew what the plan was going to be. Remick told, wait, now it was Smokes. Wait,
Smokes is the survivor at the end.
So, all right. Remick told Smokes
became the vampire.
All right, Remick told Smokes what they were going to do to them, what the whole plan was. So it actually made sense, and he lost Annie. So at this point, he was on a suicide mission.
He had a daughter.
He knew,
he lost.
Yeah, they lost the daughter.
I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Now he's lost his daughter. He lost the woman he loved. So he lost his brother. The person who completed him.
Brother.
So at this point, he had nothing to lose. So he went in there and said, "I'm going to kill these motherfuckers," and I'm going to say that he wanted to die in the end so he can be reunited.
I didn't think he had a daughter, though.
No, he knew because he showed up at the grave.
He brought the flowers.
That was the daughter's grave. the mom was still putting a little bottle of milk, which was that's another the little touches too.
Little touches,
like,
right?
oh my god,
man.
for being a baby, like when you're feeling like you felt Annie's pain because she's probably switching that quite often, you know. But yeah, that's why he went back. It's what I think one of the reasons he left, because they lost a daughter. So him basically going on that suicide mission to just say, fuck it, I'm gonna go in there, kill these motherfuckers. Hopefully somebody gets a good shot in me after I kill everybody so that I can be reunited.
And don't forget, Joe, that casket of guns and weapons and ammunition, they forgot to bring it into the place.
Yeah,
remember?
they told him you don't need it.
The movie would have been a little different if they would not have forgotten that little detail. I love stuff like that. 'Cause that's real.
Told him,
that
we
could
don't
happen.
need it. He was like, no, because he said, should we bring it in? He goes, no, we don't. They wouldn't. Again, they let their guard down.
Yeah.
Another thing, it's like a double guard down because
They were
didn't realize they
infallible,
got
man.
set up.
They've been through so much between war and working for Capone. They're untouchable in their eyes.
But for me, again, when you walk out of the movie theater and you're still dazed thinking about the movie you watched, you know the movie left its mark on you. I'm a huge music person. Every time I log in with you guys, the first thing I do is put my headphones on and listen to music. I'm an escapist when it comes to music. Good music can make you disappear, especially if you're a little nice, you know. And just, I mean, for me, the soundtrack, everything about the sound in this movie was one of the best things. I talked about how good, the one good thing about Wolfman was some of the sound. Like this, when I saw it in the theater, Adam goes, that was a little loud. I'm in my head like, no, it wasn't. Like that was, the level of the loudness was meant for a reason. And again, the sequence with Sammy's songs, but you know, Perline's, it was, Sammy's was cool, but it was Perline's where it's just like Ryan, while you're sitting there watching his movie, you were there. And that's a really hard thing to make a person feel when they're watching a movie. But I swear to God, if there would not have been anybody in the theater, I seriously would have gotten up and danced during that one.
Damn,
but
yeah,
no, like this.
You're gonna do the Irish thing?
No, not the Irish one. I wouldn't have done the Irish one.
I can't picture Joe dancing, man.
All right,
hold on, Joe. Before you go on, hold on. I don't want to forget this. Go ahead, Joe. Read down.
Hey guys, just popping in to say hi. This is Rose, Mama Rose, leaving my granddaughter's choir performance. Catch you next week. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Rose.
I knew that they were busy tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this movie is something I've not seen before. Rick, you said it's an original. It's an original. I mean, it's for me. The people comparisons, I see them more as homages to the horror movies that he loves.
You know this spiritual warfare. That's what this movie was, bro.
You know,
you know all about that shit. That's
yeah.
The first thing I would assume you would have brought up because that's exactly what this film is, man.
Yeah. And dude, I hope that he makes more movies like this. I hope he actually does the prequel because again, I kind of feel it's laid out. It's like I don't know. You never know.
He wanted to make everything fit in one movie. He didn't want to leave nothing.
He still
open
can. He still
can.
But
you can. But you know, will it still be as unique as this one? That's the issue.
Yeah. But yeah, no. For me, as a whole, this was a thoroughly enjoyable movie to see in the theater. Rick, thank you for telling us that we needed to do this one because this was your idea. I walked out of there just like, wow, and I'm like, this is a horror movie. Like normally you walk out of horror movies sometimes feeling like icks and stuff. Like this was just, I'm doing my little cheat thing. I'm gonna give this a 4.75. Same thing. I don't want to give it a 5. No. The only reason I gave it that little extra is only because
me and JR explained. Where does your 25 points? Where's that get it taken up?
The music. It's literally because again.
No, you're gonna take it off because of music.
No. I bumped it up. Oh no, I only bumped it up from a 4.5. It's a 4.5, but it's just the music itself because I'm a huge fan of music, and as the lore said. You know, music connects people. Music does things to you. and the movie itself is grounded on music. It's a horror movie grounded on music. We don't, Rick, you hate musicals. It's not a musical, I know.
I didn't say. Oh yeah, yeah.
No, I'm saying it. You hate musicals. It's not, but
Yeah.
it's grounded on music. It's grounded on the power of music. The whole lore discussed that it's individuals who have this ability to, you know, talk to spirits, to, you know, connect with the past, the future, the veil. It's just showed you again the power of music.
I want to bring up two things real quick. I like how when Sammy, Preacher Boy, when he's in the car with Stax, when they're driving towards, you know, their destination, and, you know, that's what, you know, when he shows us the music, Preacher Boy asks him, you know, Sammy says, you know, talking about the car, and Stax is like, what, you want to drive? He goes, yeah. He goes, all right, maybe on the way back. So at the end of the movie, which was also the beginning, he did get to drive the car back. He did get to drive it back. And the final thing I'm going to say, I liked in the 90s when we get the flash forward, and Sammy tells Stax, he's Elijah, right? Elias is Smokes, right?
Yeah.
So he tells Elijah, Stax, he tells him, you know, as scarred as I am from that night, and I'm paraphrasing, but as scarred as I am, like that was the, like, before the sun went down, that was like the best night of my life.
Yeah.
And Stax was
That's
like,
the last time he was happy.
yeah, he's like, I agree, because that was the last time I saw my brother, the very last time I saw the sun, you know, and that was the last time I felt free.
Yep.
And that takes me back to the Black Panther's monologue with Killmonger talking about his, you know, before he dies, about being free with his ancestors. Coogler has his way to connect you to these characters through dialogue, man, and you feel it. That one line was like, oh my God, that's it. That right there, that's what the movie's about, man. That was great little attention to detail, just in a few words, man. I dug that.
All right. Well, with that,
What we got next week, Joe? What we got next week, Joe?
We have to figure that one out. So we'll talk about that after we sign out.
Shit.
I already told you that, but that's okay.
I swear to God, I didn't know. That's why I really asked.
But what I'm gonna it's something I haven't asked before when we've been closing this out. If you are watching the episode on a rewatch and you want on the comment section to throw your rating, you can even talk about, you know, what you loved about it. But if you want to throw ratings about the movie, we would love to what you thought about the movie. So with that, Rick, take us home.
All right. Well, listen, also, real quick before I go, this Sunday, come back, 7 o'clock. Me and Joe are back with Brains and Brews Live. We got a live stream this Sunday, 7 o'clock, a little earlier. But we're going to drink some brew, and we're going to talk Shaun of the Dead. I can't believe we've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. We haven't even talked about this movie once.
Because I told you we needed to do Huang of the Dead first.
Yes, and I'm glad you did, because I discovered a gem. So, yes, join us for Shaun of the Dead this Sunday. And with that being said, it's going to be a surprise, I guess, for next Thursday. So, all right, Joe, JR, thank you, fellas. I don't have the outro set out, so I do have it. All right, it's perfect. So, guys, be good, stay healthy, drink beer, watch horror movies in the theaters, but most of all, stay scared.